Good afternoon. My name is Darlene Chu Bryant. I am the Executive Director of GlobalSF. We are very lucky today to actually have Scott Rogalski from the Northern California Small Business Development Center Finance Center actually join us today to talk to us about the California CAL grant, the COVID-19 grant that is available to small businesses throughout the state of California. 各位好，我是赵翠薇，我是 GlobalSF 的总监。今天非常荣幸，我们能够请到 Scott Rogalski，就是我们加州的小商业开发发展中心他是财务的总监。然后呢，他就今天跟我们分享我们加州就资补助的計劃，今天想跟大家分享。各位你好，我係趙翠薇 ，GlobalSF 嘅總監。今日非常榮幸，我哋可以邀請到 Scott Rogalski 嚟同我哋講解有關我哋加州救濟補助計劃嘅，係今日啱啱開始播放。咁然之後，今日呢個活動咧係用英文嚟同大家講解嘅，但係我哋播放呢個 PPT 咧係中文版嘅。然之後咧播放完之後咧就會有問答時間啦，咁大家可以輸入你啲問題入下邊你可以睇到 Q&A 嗰度，你可以打入你嘅問題嘅。咁其實今天的這個分享呢是會用英文，可是我們播放這個 PPT 呢是中文版的。然後呢講座完之後呢會有時間給大家來提出來你的問題的，請把你的問題就輸入下面這個 Q&A 那個部分打進去就行了。然後我們現在開始吧，謝謝 Scott, you may start now.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Darlene and GlobalSF, for putting this on today. My name is Scott Rogalski. I'm with the Small Business Development Center, SBDC, for Northern California, but we have representation all across the state. We're excited to bring this to you today for the California Relief Grant Program that the state of California has launched, and we are excited to be here and jump right into it. So as we go through the agenda, we're going to go over these 8 items right here. We're going to talk about the grant program, the eligibility requirements, what is constituted as an ineligible business, what can the funding be used for and not used for, the application, any required documents. We're going to go over a recap, and then who to contact and how to get connected for no-cost help. And the SBDC network, we are across the state of California. GlobalSF is one of our partners. We're really excited to be collaborating together to put this on for you. So again, we're all throughout the state of California. We have 5 networks. SBDCs are funded by SBA, Small Business Administration, on the federal side. And they're also funded by the California Governor's Office of Economic Development, which is called GoBiz on the state side. Because of the funding, we come to you at no cost, and we can help you with PPP, EIDL, this California grant, anything with starting a business or saving your business, and help out with e-commerce, restaurants, and anything that you need to help keep your business alive. We're here for you at no cost. So this is the California Relief Grant website. This is the best website for you to go to for all the updated information. So it's careliefgrant.com. And there's updated FAQs, frequently asked questions for your need and for your small business. So round 1 starts today. It started today at 6 a.m. This is not a first come, first served basis type application. So you have from today till January 8th to apply for the first round of money that is being dispersed from the state of California. And this is, again, it's not first come, first served basis. You have from now till January 8th to apply for the first round. About the program, as we go into the program is a total of a $475 million funding that is administered by the California Office of Small Business Advocate and will be distributed by Lendistry as the intermediary and partnering with other third-party organizations such as SBDC and GlobalSF to get the information out to you. There's 2 rounds. As mentioned, the first round started today, ends on January 8th. They're breaking up the money, the total grant amount of $475. So the first round is $237.5 million. And this is off of the portal, which we'll go over a little bit later, like where to apply, how to find the portal. The portal is open for for-profit and nonprofit businesses. The grants are available up to $25,000 per eligible business. You need to have a minimum gross revenue of $1,000 and a maximum revenue of $2.5 million. Active businesses have to be since June 1st, 2019, and active means generating revenue. So if you started your business after June 1st of 2019, unfortunately, you do not qualify for this grant. As you can see on the chart on the right, this is the gross revenue per business, the matrix. So if you make a minimum of $1,000 for gross revenue to $100,000, you qualify for a $5,000 grant. Anywhere from $100,000 to $1 million, you qualify for a $15,000 grant. Anywhere from $1 million to $2.5 million in gross revenue, you qualify for a $25,000 grant. And with this, it's this number is taken off of your IRS tax form, depending on your entity, which we are going to cover as we go to the next few slides. So this slide talks about the definition of a small business and nonprofit. So if you're a small business, a for-profit, you can apply. If you're a nonprofit, you can also apply, as long as you are a 501c3 and or a 501c6. On the small business side, small businesses mean sole proprietors, independent contractors, 1099 workers, and or registered for-profit business entities, corporations, S-corps, limited liability companies, also known as LLCs, partnerships that have yearly gross revenue of $2.5 million or less based on most recent available tax return filed, which could be a 2018 or a 2019 tax, depending on what's your most recent, must have a minimum yearly gross revenue of $1,000. So that's for the small businesses. For the nonprofits, again, nonprofit means registered 501c3 or C6. Nonprofit entities have yearly gross revenue of $2.5 million or less with them from their 990s. So if you're a nonprofit, you know that you file a 990. It could be either your 2018 or your 2019 990. Must have a minimum yearly gross revenue of $1,000. Nonprofit entities types include corporation, limited liability companies, trust, or unincorporated association. So the eligibility requirements, going into what makes you eligible as a small business or a nonprofit. And so eligibility requirements, you must meet the definition of an eligible small business. We're going to go over what that is. Active businesses or nonprofits operating since at least June 1st, 2019. So again, if you started your business after June 1st of 2019, you do not qualify for this grant. That is a hard set date. Other eligibility is businesses must be impacted by COVID-19 and the health and safety restrictions such as business interruptions or business closures incurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Applicants will be required to certify eligibility, including that the grant will be used for a specific applicant and such that applicant is the business with the highest revenue. Applicants that have multiple entities, so if you own multiple businesses, franchises, locations, etc., are not eligible for multiple grants. You're only allowed to apply once using their eligible small business with the highest revenue. Businesses must be able to provide organizational documents, which we'll go over, and an acceptable form of government-issued photo ID. As far as revenue verification, the other part of this slide, revenue verification is dependent on your tax form. So depending on your entity and what type of tax form you submit for your taxes. So this is the gross revenue chart that I showed on the previous slide. Depending if you're a C Corp or an S Corp, which is 1120 tax form, you will find the gross revenue number on line 1C. Line 3 for any Schedule Cs. So if you're Schedule C, you're a sole proprietor, you're a 1099 contractor, worker, Uber, Lyfts, all those file as Schedule C. So on line 3, you'll find your gross revenue. That's for a Schedule C and a single member LLC. It's line 1C for 1065 for partnerships, line 1C or line 2 for Schedule F for farming businesses, line 12 for 990s for nonprofits, and Schedule E is not eligible. Schedule E is not eligible. So this is eligibility requirements. Now we're going to go to ineligible businesses. So ineligible businesses are businesses without a physical location in California. Nonprofit businesses that are not registered as 501c3 or C6 are ineligible. Government entities other than Native American tribes. Businesses primarily engaged in political or lobbying activities. Passive businesses, investment companies, churches and other religious institutions. Financial businesses primarily engaged in the business of lending, and affiliated companies such So other ineligible businesses are businesses engaged in any activity that is legal under federal, state, or local law. Businesses of a prurient sexual nature. Businesses engaged in socially undesirable activity or activity that may be considered predatory. Businesses that restrict patronage for any other reason than capacity. Speculative businesses, businesses of which any owner or greater than 10% of the equity interest in it has within the prior 3 years been convicted of or had a civil judgment rendered against a such owner or has had commenced any form of parole or probation. Those are ineligible businesses. And now we're going to go to uses of funds. So uses of funds, so what can you use the money for once you get the grant money? So this is grant money, it's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. So it is the eligible uses of funds. Only those costs incurred due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the health and safety restrictions such as business interruptions or business closures incurred as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The following are eligible uses of grant funds. All employee expenses, including payroll costs, healthcare benefits, paid sick, medical, or family leave, and insurance premiums. Working capital overhead, which includes rent, utilities, mortgage, principal, and interest payments, excluding mortgage prepayments, debt payments, principal and interest incurred after March 1st, 2020. Costs associated with reopening business operations after being fully or partially closed due to state-mandated COVID-19 health and safety restrictions and business closures. Costs associated with complying with COVID-19 state, federal, or local guidelines for reopening with required safety protocols, including but not limited to equipment, plexiglass barriers, outdoor dining, PPE, supplies, testing, and employee training expenses. Any other COVID-19 related expenses not already covered for the same period through grants, forgivable loans, or other relief through federal, state, county, or city programs. Those are all the eligible. The ineligible is on the right side of this chart. Ineligible uses of funds are human resource expenses for the state share of Medicaid, employee bonuses or severance pay, taxes or legal settlements, any personal expenses or other expenses unrelated to COVID-19 impacts, expenses for repairs from damages already covered by insurance, reimbursement to donors for donated items or services. So those are the eligible and ineligible uses of funds. So now we're going to go through the application process, and some of you may have already applied. but we're going to go over this. So the first one about the application. So there are 2 rounds to the application. The first round launched today and ends on January 8th. It's not first come, first serve. So you can apply anytime between now and January 8th and get inside the round 1 queue. We will review all applications for eligibility and start approving grant awards after the close of each round. So after you apply in the first round, which is today to the 8th, they'll let you know after the 8th how that went for you. So do you need to apply in each round? No. If you submitted a complete application during an application window, you meet the eligibility requirements and are not awarded a grant in the first round, your application will be rolled over into the next round for consideration. What are the key dates? Well, we went over that a little bit today. The first round is today through the 8th, and the start of approval notification from your application between today and the 8th is sometime around January 13th. So they're going to review all the applications for eligibility and will start approving grant awards after the close of each application round. Applicants who submitted their application and submitted all documentation in the first round do not need to reapply. Qualified applications for eligible businesses will be rolled over into the next funding round for consideration. All right, so stage 1. There's 2 stages in the application process, and right now, currently, stage 1 is the most accessible. Stage 1 is application requirements. The business will need to complete a grant application made available through an online portal by Lendistry. Lendistry, again, is the lender that is the intermediary from the state of California to you to get the grant funds to you. You'll need to upload selected financial and organizational documents, which they will tell you what that is after you apply. You'll need to self-certify the accuracy of information by signing an application certification, which is internal to the application. It's nothing that you need to submit by yourself with your financial documents. The certification of application is something you submit as you're doing the application. The following information is required from all applicants in stage 1. A copy of the signed certification, which I mentioned, which is in the application. Most recent tax return filed, 2018 or 19, depending on which one you have filed most recently. Provided in an electronic form, either JPEG or PDF. An acceptable form of government-issued photo ID, provided in a JPEG or PDF. And then acceptable evidence of minimum gross annual revenue of no less than $1,000 per year. So as we move on, application stage number 2. So this is if you are selected for the grant, if you are selected for the award of the grant. Additional requirements for businesses will be determined to be eligible. Once selected for funding, applicants will be required to provide additional documentation as set forth below and recertify to the accuracy of the information provided. The following information is required from all applicants in stage 2. Copy of official filing with the Secretary of State, which must be active, if applicable, or local municipality for your business, such as one of the following. So if applicable, so articles of incorporation are due for corporations, not sole proprietors, just corporations. Certificate of organization is only for certain entities. Fictitious name statement or registration is most common for sole proprietors. Government issued business license, sole proprietors without fictitious name statement. For eligible nonprofit entity applications, a copy of the entity's most recent IRS tax exemption letter will suffice. And verification of bank account via electronic registration or other approved review process. And this is application stage 2. So as we move on, how will the recipients be determined? So the grant recipients will be determined based on these 4 items or criteria. Businesses located in areas impacted the most by the effects of COVID-19 based on COVID health and safety restrictions, following California's blueprint for a safer economy, local county status, and regional stay-at-home orders available at covid19.ca.gov/safer-economy. Number 2, businesses impacted the most financially based on gross revenue losses. Number 3, certain impacted industries, including retail, food, and hospitality, health and wellness, and personal care, beauty, nail salons, spas, and barbershops. Number 4, underserved small business groups, meaning 1, women-owned, minority, person of color-owned, or veteran-owned businesses where at least 51% of the business is owned and run on a daily basis by said groups. And 2, businesses located in low to moderate income areas or rural communities. The next part of this is notification of funding. When will you find out if you received an award? So the grant is called an award. It is awarded to you. It's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. You'll be notified directly by email if you are approved for an award. So if you're approved, you'll notify by email. If you're waitlisted, which means you're not in this round, but you may be in next round, round 2, or if you're not selected. So you'll be notified email if you're awarded it, waitlisted, or not selected. So Lendistry intends to send approval notifications for the first round. So if you apply between now and January 8th, that you'll be notified in this first round if you're approved, waitlisted, or not selected on or around January 13th of next year. So please add Lendistry to your safe sender list in your email and check your spam for email messages from Lendistry. Once you're notified of approval, your application will be subject to additional verification requirements before grant funds will be dispersed. It is also recommended that you allow Lendistry to send you messages via text. This will be requested during the application process. Now we're going to go into tips for applying. So tip 1. So they recommend that you use Google Chrome only. If you don't have Google Chrome or you're not sure how to access it, it's okay. It just won't work as well. So Google Chrome as a web browser. If you need help with that, we can help you with that. Using other web browsers such as Internet Explorer, Firefox, Safari, and Bing may disrupt your application process. If you need the link to download Chrome, we can help you with that. Tip 2, acceptable email addresses. Please make sure you are using a valid email address when applying. You will receive updates and additional instructions at the email address you provide. Important note, the following email addresses will not be accepted and recognized in our system. Emails beginning with info@. Example, info@mycompany.com will not be recognized. Emails ending with @contact.com or @noreply.com. If you have these emails, they will not be recognized in the system and it will kind of kick it out. So please don't use info@ or @contact.com or @noreply.com. Tip 3, scan your documents properly. Make sure you scan your documents properly or they will not be accepted. So all documentation must be provided in an electronic form for online uploads such as PDF or JPEG or other approved upload format. The electronic form must be clear, aligned, straight, and contain no disruptive backgrounds. If you do not have a scanner, we recommend using the following free mobile apps. One is called Genius Scan. We have the links to download these. Also, Adobe Scan. So that's the scanning part of tip number 3. And then the next slide, we'll go over acceptable electronic submissions. So on the left, you'll see that the California Relief Grant Lendistry, that is the acceptable way to submit a document where there's no background. It is straight inside the picture or scan that you sent. The electronic examples on the right, those will not be accepted, where you have your hand in there, you have a background, you have a desk, a floor. That's not acceptable. It needs to be clean and clear. And that's what you see on this slide right here. All right, so we're going to go through some frequently asked questions. And the first one is, will I be notified if I'm not selected? You will be notified directly by email if you are approved for an award, waitlisted or not selected. We kind of went over this a little bit earlier. So please add Lendistry to your safe sender list in your email and check your spam from email from Lendistry so that you can be prepared to receive these messages from Lendistry and you know where to find them. The next one is, what information are you pulling from my bank? To ensure that the bank account you provided is valid and to prevent fraud, Lendistry verifies that the name of the bank on your bank account aligns with the business information provided in the application. Lendistry also verifies that the business bank account is active with transactions from the last 90 to 120 days. Lendistry and its partners will not have access to your bank login credentials, including username or password. Security is the utmost priority with Lendistry. The technology used to verify your bank account is owned and operated by Visa and applies to its banking standards and security protocols. The next question is, I have a franchise business with multiple locations. Can I apply for assistance with each location? I have a franchise business with multiple locations. Can I apply for multiple grants? The answer is no. Owners of multiple businesses, franchise locations, etc., will be considered for only one grant and are required to apply for their business with the highest revenue. Applicants will need to certify that the application is being submitted on behalf of the applicant by the majority owner of the applicant and that applicant is the owner's business with the highest revenue as a condition to receiving the grant. So only one application per business owner, only one application per location, and one application per business entity. If you have multiple locations and multiple franchises, you can only submit one application for the location with the highest revenue. The next question is, our federal Paycheck Protection Program, which is PPP, if you receive PPP, or EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, or any other types of county or city grants or funds that you received, are you eligible for this grant? And the answer is yes. PPP and EIDL recipients may apply. However, funds cannot be used to cover the same expenses for the same period that the PPP and EIDL funds covered. For example, if you're still using PPP and EIDL funds today to pay for payroll and you qualify for the grant and you get the grant, you can't use it for the same time period, which will probably be okay for you since applications will not be awarded until after January 13th. So you should be okay with that. Next question, are recipients of county city business relief funds eligible to apply, and would that be considered in any way in the process? So again, yes, PPP, EIDL, city, local, county grants, regardless of where you are in the state, if you receive money from your city or county, you do qualify for this grant. However, you just can't use it for the same reason during the same period. The next question is, do you have to pay taxes on the grant proceeds? So again, this is a grant, it's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back, but you do have to pay taxes on it. So you do have to pay taxes on the grant proceeds. Regarding how much taxes, that has to do with you and your CPA or bookkeeper when you file your taxes in 2022. So prior to February 15th, 2022, you'll receive tax information related to the grant proceeds, which you'll report on your taxes. So please consult with your tax professional on how best to do that. So I don't have a computer. So if you don't own a computer, how can you apply? The grant application is mobile friendly. However, we strongly recommend using Google Chrome on a computer for optimal experience. So if you don't have a computer, you can still use your iPad, your iPhone, or your phone. Doesn't have to be an iPhone. You can use your iPad, your phone, some sort of notebook of any sort, and all those are compatible with the application. It just works better on a computer. So if you lost your physical verification paperwork, like where you're located, your physical, can you send a screenshot from the site, like the Secretary of State? No screenshots will be accepted. So you can't just go to california.sos.gov and try to find your acceptability for your Secretary of State information and take a picture and send it. You can't do that. So we recommend contacting the California Secretary of State. Again, you can go to their website, www.sos.ca.gov, and you can obtain your information and find out how to get additional documentation from them. Do I need to provide receipts of my purchase? For example, any PPE stuff like equipment. You do not need to provide receipts of purchase as part of the application. However, we recommend that you retain all of your records related to the grant and use of funds for at least 3 years. I am undocumented. Can I apply for the grant? Yes. Non-U.S. owners can apply for a grant, but will be subject to I-10 verification through IRS Form CP-565. My business is incorporated outside of California, but I generate the majority of my business revenue in California. Am I eligible to apply? Eligible businesses must have a physical address and operate in California. So you must have a physical address and operate in California. You are not able to use a PO box. Are real estate companies, brokers / sales agents eligible grantees? A real estate professional who practices real estate as their operating business and files a Schedule C. You know who you are if you file Schedule C. If you don't, we can help you with that and look at your taxes. But real estate professionals who practice real estate as operating business and file Schedule C on their personal tax returns are eligible. Passive companies, including passive real estate companies and investors who file a Schedule E on their personal tax returns, are not eligible. Real estate businesses in which the majority, 51% or more of their income is rental income, are also not eligible. The next question is, a government issued photo ID is a required document. Has to be a government issued photo ID. Is a state ID allowed instead of a driver's license? Or would other forms of picture identification be allowed? Yes, any government issued photo ID will be accepted. State ID or a passport would be other forms that are acceptable. Do I have to submit documentation to verify ownership? Do multiple owner companies have to submit for one owner or all? An application must be submitted by the majority owner of the business. Applicants will need to certify that the application is being submitted on behalf of the applicant by the majority owner of the applicant as a condition to receiving the grant. Only one business owner can apply. Are the revenue thresholds for the grant amounts based on gross revenue? Revenue is determined based on the IRS tax form definition of gross sales less any returns and allowances, as reported on line 1C for both the 1120 C Corp and S Corp, on line 3 for IRS Schedule C, which is for single member LLCs and any sole proprietors or 1099 contractors or gig economy individuals. Line 1C on Form 1065 for partnerships. Line 1C and line 2 for Schedule F for farming businesses. Line 12 for nonprofits, which is line 12 on the Form 990 for nonprofits. And then Schedule E is not eligible. Schedule E is not eligible. The last FAQ that we have here for you on these slides is, I own multiple businesses. Can I apply for each business? And again, you are owners of multiple businesses, franchises, locations, etc., will be considered for only one grant and are required to apply for their business with the highest revenue. Owners of multiple businesses, franchise, locations, etc., will be considered for only one grant and are required to apply for their business with the highest revenue. So as a recap, again, this is the chart. If you know where to find your gross revenue line item on your taxes, then you can just grab it from there. If you don't, you can reach out to us. GlobalSF will help you at no cost. Again, if you're eligible for gross revenue, a minimum of $1,000 to $100,000, you qualify for a $5,000 grant. $100,000 to $1 million, you qualify for a $15,000 grant. $1 million to $2.5 million, you qualify for a $25,000 grant. And again, the website to find out all this information and find where to apply and find a partner and find out the newest, updated, most important information for the FAQs is careliefgrant.com. Round 1 started today, it ends January 8th. You have those 9-10 days to apply, and you don't have to apply right away. You don't have to apply today to be considered in the first round. It's not first come, first served basis. And again, SBDC, again, we're a statewide organization. We have representation in every city and county throughout the state, and we're readily accessible to assist you. You can go to californiasbdc.org to find out more information and find a center located near you.
Great. Oops.
It's okay. That's everything.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Scott. We have let me recap the SBDC to everyone in the to every one of our participants again, and that is 其实SBDC 是加州政府跟联邦的小型企业这个 administration 那个管局他们来制作的，然后呢可以提供的服务跟咨询都是免费的，所以可以直接跟我们SBDC 任何的一个中心联系或者跟我们 GlobalSF China SF 聯繫都可以。剛才就介紹咗 SBDC 啦，其實 SBDC 係聯邦政府同埋加州政府資助嘅中心嚟嘅服務中心嚟嘅，咁咧專門係可以為我哋啲小商業咧提供免費嘅諮詢啦，咁可以上網查詢就同 SBDC 任何嘅 SBDC 中心聯絡，或者同我哋 GlobalSF 同埋 China SF 聯絡都可以嘅，因為我哋 China SF 同埋 GlobalSF 咧，亦都係一個 SBDC 嘅伙伴嚟嘅。OK， 咁而家我就見到有好幾個問題啦，咁我哋就會為每一個問題嚟解答嘅。就我們看到有好幾個問題，那然後呢，我們就會向 Scott 問，然後讓他回答。李璇呢，今天會做這個普通話的翻譯，然後我就繼續做這個廣東話的翻譯。OK， Our first question is when we provide the 1029. Is there a 1029 that has to be submitted?
1029? No.
Yeah. No.
1040. So there's I don't know what the 1029 is, but for 1040, for most personal taxes in the state of California, that'll be in stage 2 once you're notified that you're approved and they need additional documentation.
我们不知道您指的这个1029表是哪一个表，但是对于加州境内的个人缴税的1040表格是我们在如果你被批准这个资金之後的第2階段會向您需要提供的這麼一個表格。
其實呢一個1029表格咧，其實就唔知係咩表格嚟㗎啦，但係其實就需要遞交咧1040表格嘅。咁呢個咧係收到通知之後，佢哋就可以俾資金你咧，補助資金你嗰時咧，你先需要遞交呢個1040表嘅。OK， next question. Can I use the grant to pay employee salary? 下一個問題，go ahead.
Yes.
Sure.
这次补助的資金是可以用於支付員工的這個薪水的，是可以的。
其實呢筆錢咧係可以用嚟支付人工薪水嘅。Next question is there a link for the application?
Yes, there is a link for the application, and I could put it in. I'll put it in the chat, and yeah, I'll put that in the chat. And then I could also show something as well. Let's see. Here we go. And then here, let me. So here's on the screen. So round 1 is open today. Please use this link. So here's the link to apply. When you click on that link, you'll see this page. Oh, geez. You'll see this page right here on the link. So click Find Grants Now. Don't try to sign in. You just need to click on Grants Now.
OK， 刚才这个问题，请您看一下这个聊天框里面的这个地址 sbdc.mylandistry.com/login， 这个就是您可以用于申请的地址。然后您点进去之后呢，next slide please Scott， 点进去之后呢，不要点那个登录，不要点右边那个 sign in， 点左边那个 find grants now， 点左边这个，然後你就可以看到申請的步驟。
咁回答剛才嗰個問題咧，就係有冇一個 link 啦？就其實我哋喺 chat 入邊咧就已經打入呢個link 啦。咁你就可以點上呢個 link 咧，就可以上到申請呢個補助資金個網址啦。咁你 next slide OK。Next question 咁但係咧就記得就唔好填寫或唔好輸入任何資料入去登記嗰邊，就喺左手邊就點個 Find Grants 嗰度咧就得㗎啦。OK， 咁下一個問題 ，next question， when we provide the 2019 tax return, do we need to provide both federal and California returns?
As of right now, just federal.
当您在提供2019年的报税单的时候，是不需要提供目前为止是不需要提供加州的报税单的，只用提供联邦政府的报税单就可以了。这是目前为止的情況。
關於使唔使遞交呢個2019年嘅報稅單咧，係聯邦政府定係加州嘅稅單咧？目前嚟講咧，只需要遞交聯邦政府嘅稅單。Are there any more questions? 請問還有沒有其他問題可以隨時打進那個 Q&A 那個窗口？如果仲有其他問題嘅話咧，就可以打入 Q&A 螢幕下邊 Q&A 嗰個部位啊，個地方啊。No more questions. I think then it's 1:21. I want to be mindful. I know everyone is still busy, even though we're in COVID. This recording of today's webinar will be available on SBDC site and on GlobalSF sites on our website at globalsf.biz, as well as the PowerPoint presentation that was shown today. So we will also be sending this PowerPoint to all the participants that joined us. Oh, there was a question that went into chat. Could you put it into Q&A, please?
Yeah, it says that they applied this morning, yet right now can't sign in, upload required documents. So if you applied already, you should receive an email from Lendistry. If you have not received the email, just please be patient to wait for that email so that you can upload the documents for the next stage. It'll come probably later today or tomorrow.
刚才聊天框里面的这个问题是今天早上申请了，但是现在没有办法登录去上传其他的文件。然后刚才 Scott 的回答是说如果您已经申请了的话，现在下一步就是等 Lendistry 给您发一封邮件，应该是在今天晚一点，或者是明天您就会收到这封邮件，所以目前就先请耐心等待。
咁剛才有人問咧，個問題就話今朝就啱啱申請，但係冇辦法將任何文件咧就輸入嘅。咁其實咧，你今日你一定要收到 Landustry 佢哋嘅郵件咧，你先可以上遞任何嘅文件嘅。咁如果今日未收到佢嘅郵件嘅話咧，你等待啦，或者聽日都會收到噶啦，起碼24小時。OK？ All right. I think that is it. Any other questions? 還有其他問題嗎？仲有其他問題嗎？ Okay, it is 1:23. Thank you all for joining us today. We look forward to staying in touch. Please feel free to contact SBDC with any support or any questions you may have, or contact us at GlobalSF, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you so much and have a very good day. 谢谢你今天参加我们这个讲座。如果有什么问题的话，请你就直接找 SBDC 就上他们网站，或者跟我们 GlobalSF 联系也可以了。GlobalSF.biz。谢谢各位，多謝各位。I just wanted to remind everyone， 今日呢個 PPT 咧就我哋咧就會發俾每一個人用郵件嚟發俾你video 包括那個 PPT。然後我想補充一下，就是今天這個 PPT 還有今天這個錄影，今天會發給你或者放在我們這個網站裡面，也可以看到的。OK。好了，謝謝。Thank you, everyone. Goodbye and have a good day.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.